Aloha, my friends. I'm going to get a little playful today talking about this Amber Heard drama. So in the news, we get news that captures our attention about unimportant things that keeps us trapped and enslaved in this current cycle of lies. And there was this court case between Amber Heard, I don't know if that's how you spell her name, Heard to Hear. Yeah, so that is how you spell her name. So you look at her filmography, Mara. Oh, interesting. Aquaman. Oops. Chala, Jabela, Imera. So I think there's a group of hosts of heaven, angels, watchers, whatever label you want to give them, that are tied to Hollywood, and they have an amazing sense of humor. They I think at some point, whoever they are, whoever the bad guys are, if there are any bad guys, I just think of I just think of Miramax. I'm losing his name. What's his name? Weinstein. So this is how our brain works. Sometimes we have the connection, sometimes we don't. Harvey Weinsteins of the world. So there was definitely a group in Hollywood that are trying to game the system, but Israel, God wins. It doesn't matter. But it's kind of fun to watch how you'll have two movies come out all at once. You have the original movie, and sometimes Deep Impact. Deep Impact was probably the original movie. It had more feminine motifs in it, if you understand what I mean by that. And the knockoff was Armageddon with Bruce Willis. But then Bruce Willis was in The Fifth Element. And that guy's just a hard read, the Fifth Element guy, because he may have slept with young women. Oh, wait, Joseph Smith may have slept with young women. He couldn't come to the U.S. because he was going to get extradited. But for me, the reason I think he's kind of a bad character as a human is the whole white helmets bullshit. I got to find out what bullshit is in Hebrew or Egyptian. I think sheet. The Hebrews say it means shita or shitam, shiti. They say it's the acacia tree or the thorn or possibly a shittim tree, whatever that is. I think a woodworker who had to cut trees for work, or possibly someone that would cut the tree to get the sap from the tree, would know, because I think it smelled really, really bad. And ancient Egyptian has a word that says smell really bad. So if there's some master language, how over all these thousands of years do we have this word? Because it just resonates with us. And I looked up bool at one point, and I forgot what it is. But there's a word for sheet in the ancient Egyptian. Do I have that here? I don't know if I do. That literally means that. So if we're going to do a word cloud of what's going on here with Amber Heard. So sexual freedom, it's a choice. It's fine. Do what you want to do. But I really have a hard time with this right here. Not because they're engaging in fornication or free love, whatever. He's on an elevator going up to Johnny Depp's apartment to do something with Amber Heard. That is not correct. Get a hotel, buy your own building, do whatever you need to do. Not only did she cheat in Johnny Depp's bed, but it looks like she's doing ooh la la in Johnny Depp's bed with another man. So what does that tell us about humanity and society? Women need their own bed. It needs to be their bed. Look at Elon Musk. He'll sleep on the floor. I've slept on the floor. He'll sleep on a couch anywhere. When he was making his millions as a teenager, writing a little encryption algorithm, somehow making $22 million for it with his brother, he was sleeping on a couch. And I think that's the way it should be. Men are a little bit more nomadic in general. And the woman should have a bed, and a man can go to that bed, but he knows it's the woman's bed. It's her bed. It's her property. It's kind of counter to what some of the traditions may have been. But I think about Abraham with Isaac. He probably had a separate tent from his wife. And I think the man would probably be going to the woman's bed. So to me, this is wrong, unless she felt like it was her bed because Johnny was out of town or whatever. So anyway, that tells you what I think of Elon Musk. So let's look. So Elon, I think of El Elyon, which is the Most High God. He wants us to go to Mars. Maybe he's a prophet of God and he's inspired to take us there. Leon, the lion. The lion, that's good. Because then that links. And I think of the lion's whelp. So this is how our brains work. And then I think of, well, is that Dan or is that Judah? And if you don't know what I mean, Jacob blesses his children. Judah is a lion's whelp. Dan is a lion's whelp. Which one is it? For some reason, in Hebrew, they have 3 words for lion. So let's... Ari, which would be Ali, like Muhammad Ali, if you don't have an R in your language. Some languages don't have R's, and the R's and the L's are intermixed. And you got Ariel, and that's where I'm going today. Ariel, mermaid, Little Mermaid, merman. Aryeh, those are all the same word, whatever that word is. And now you have kefir, but that's a kefir. I think of kefir, I think of yogurt, kefir. And now you have labi, labi. This is going to be a word play in Nephi's story. Labi. He's going to teach his children the difference between labi, ladi, nadi, nabi, lahi, lai. The great lion. Who's the great lion? That would be Laman, the father, whose spiritual name became Lai. And now we have the old lion. So when he's on the ship getting ready to die, he's probably now Lais. So there's another word for lion. So we have 3 words for lion. So that's rebellion. That's not lion. Oh, look. Mary. Didn't we just see Mary? It's amazing the links that God gives us. Sarah, Abraham and her probably had separate beds. So now we have Sahal, and that's Shahal, Shahal, Shahala, Shahal, lion and pride. So we have 4 words for lion. Let's go with duck. Don't get me wrong, I think the Masoretics, and there's pictures of birds of all kinds, like the duck and the goose. The closest thing we have is flock. And I think, and so flock could be sheep or birds, flock of geese or. So now we have Marit, Migdal, Mikne. Mikne makes me think of college. Remember the school of the prophets? That looks very similar to that word. We have Shh. This might be Ushon, even though they're saying it's pronounced Shon. And so that tells you the language was lost. And the Masoretes tried to restore what they could, piece together what they could from their histories to preserve their language. They wrote in this new wedge-formed language, which we have here. This Bible needs to be improved on because the words need to be separated. Va is like an and word all the time, the va sound. Makes me think of Tongan. You know how often they say va? So here's va. And see, they've done a separation here, but they also need to do a separation with the suffix. They're saying that's plural, but that was very likely a separate word. So we have amru, we have amin, rabim, and certainly to simplify the text, there might be a way to write one on top of the other and share that eem sound because they had to match. Vena, ale, or Allah. So why is it ale? That could be a verb tense. And let us go up like future tense or perfect. Yeah, it's imperfect. It's Allah. Just take that sound. Allah. The Most High God. But you look up Allah, it has so many meanings because the language has been corrupted. Allah, Al, Allah. This is part of the wordplay of Lehi's name. Allah, let us go up. El. But he's not going up to the mountain. He's going to the island. And the island is Iguazu. Alaeli. Alaeli. Lai. Laeli. Lai. It's not the mountain. So they add the word the. It's not there. There's no the there. Remember the shape of a house or a house with an open enclosure. Of the God, aloha. Alo-ya. Ya. E. I guess there's an E there. And they're saying that's from the root of Elohim. This is singular, but they're saying this Elohim is some special super plural. Jehovah. I am, I was, I will be. You look at it carefully. If it was Jehovah with that E right there, it would be a palindrome. The same forward as backwards. It's a tetragram. Now it might be a pentagram. Look at your hand, number 5. The first and the last are E, the middle. It's not Yahweh, that's for sure. Bait. So we need to just update this, and the easiest thing to do is to separate it into a basic consonant vowel separation, and then figure out where the words actually are. Because if you read Isaiah, it looks like they really move some words around. There's a few words in one of the Isaiah scriptures that have an ending of mo, M-O, like Moroni, mo. One verse has 2 mo endings. And it might be like im, or ma, or am. Am as an ending means the people of. So ami would be the people of my people. Aminadi, my people, the good ones. Aminadi, I am Amulek, a descendant of Aminadi who interpreted the writings on the wall of the temple, who was a descendant of Nafi. So they may have been writing these things, and they may have lost the language. Remember when they were talking to the Mulekites for the first time, they couldn't communicate very well. And then after they figured out how to communicate, the King Mosiah, or the Benjamin speech, whatever, Mosiah chapter 2, the great chiasmus. Maybe they had forgotten chiasmus until they ran into a people that only had the oral tradition. So they had to rely on mnemonics, memorizing sounds to remember the stories. And then it kind of reestablished the language for both parties. The ones with the written ones had the language, but over time it faded. The language faded even for them. That's part of the whole story here of losing language, is it's going to morph. Is it Moroni? Maloni? Like the Tongans don't even have an R. So if you're going to go and teach the Tongans, first of all, how do you not have an R? I don't understand that. It's really easy to learn an R. How is an R and an L exactly the same? Because I'm just thinking about how your mouth works. What are the most simple languages? But the consonant vowel construct is simple. Every syllable has one consonant and one vowel, the end. What about a word like song? Song. We can write it out with an umlaut and whatever for the G. Sa, nya. So you would have to have a one character, the N tilde, nya. But then it follows the rule. Sa, nya. The sa, whatever the S is for the sa, is a unique character. It's not the same as sha or che, cha. It's one syllable with one pronunciation. Then it would be possible to remove the vowels and then it becomes a game. But why? There's really only 5 vowel sounds. And then the natural component of the sound is it's a function of what follows naturally. So in Spanish, it's a, e, I, o, u. You have to hold the middle of your mouth. You can't ah. And the ah in pronunciation, they'll put a little W on it sometimes or something like AW, like ah. Like we just relax our jaw. Language should be relaxing. It shouldn't be work. It should be natural. So Derek is one way to say ways. Ora is another way to say way. If I had to pick between Derek and Ora, Derek, Derek. So I have Derek, and then I have this last k sound. I could just drop and it'd be Derek, but to end a word with a k isn't correct. You should either go Derika, Deriki, Deriku, Derik. So anyway, that would be what a consonant vowel language would sound like. I like the sound of ora. Or is kind of in the back of your mouth like you're swallowing it, and ra, and ra. Ah is up, ah like God, up, down, but forward, middle, forward, ra, back up. So you could, if like you did a dorsal view or whatever they call it, a side view, you draw a big C for the shape of your mouth. You could draw pictures of where sound vectors are moving, and you could connect those and see the shape of sound. Ora, and I rolled the R because I can't. It's not the language. You just do it for fun. It's not a requirement. Ladder, ladder, ladder. That's the word that speech pathologists would have you say if you're English to try to learn how to roll the R. I had a hard time learning how to roll the R. Sometimes I can roll it well, sometimes I can't. Gola. Is that gua or go? So there needs to be a G that is a different letter for the different sounds. There's a go sound. There's a j sound, like a J, a soft sound. And I'm talking about English, so I'm not speaking other language. And then there's a gua sound. Gua, gui, gua, gua. So gua would be one consonant. And, maybe you would call it something, but that would be a consonant vowel construct. Okay, so we have El Elyon, the Most High God. I didn't look that one up. Leon, lion, 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 lion's whelp, Dan and Judah. Where's that going? And then you could go Noel, XT must tree. There's some serious darkness possibly there. We have no L, like not God. So does that mean he's the Antichrist? Does that mean against? Or tribe? The languages are confused. No L. Leon. Are there any other words here? No L. E. Enoli. Enoli. Wait. E-N-O-L. Enol. We have the lone gunman, the lone genius, taking innovation to a new economic shore. Musk. Scum. Succum. M is a feminine form, means waters, means a woman. So he might like to succum, whatever that means. There's a book called Journey to the Center of the Earth or something. and you got the Lord of the tunnels, like a mole king. I'm thinking Boring Company, if you're not following along. He wants to drill a hole in the back of people's heads, stick electrodes in their brain, and play Frankenstein. And so anyway, I looked up Musk as well as I could in Hebrew. So for me, Musk would be M. This Y is like an easy way to go to U. You might put these cantillation marks to actually make sure it's the sound you want. But the original language, there's no way they had those marks. They had to have had a way to know what the verbs were, the vowels were. They probably had vowels. Section Psalm 119 is probably longer because there might not be just 22. Aleph is a vowel, but it's silent. This is a vowel, but it's not. That's what they're trying to tell us. They have 3 T's. It's really weird. So anyway, I took this and I went to Reverso, which is there, and I put it in, and it sounded like this.
Maesik. Maesik.
Maesip. So I must have missed the K there, because that sounds like Maesip, but it could be how I did this. So the fonts have changed, so that kind of messed things up too. And I just put that in, and supposedly that means from a store, from a business. It's unbelievable. Heavenly Laundry precedes an enterprise. Illegal's not part of the word. Hopefully he's not doing anything illegal. So we got from the business. That's his name. You don't think God has a sense of humor? You don't think God has a sense of humor? And he's lying around with a woman in another man's bed. You're right there wanting to save it. What happened? Okay, so now we've got Amber Heard. She's this woman called Mera. If Mera's in. No, it can't be in there. There's no way. They're just making these words up. This is just, it's fiction. It's the MC verse. It's not there. Look, it's not there. Oh, good. It's not there. We're okay. Oh, what? Merab, Merari. I wonder what Mera means. Don't believe what you read here.
Strong's H, 4847. Merari. Merari.
I would say Morari might be bitter. Because if I search for bitter, oh, we got memer, bitterness. Mamororim. Mamoroim. We got mar, mara, mara, all meaning bitter. Oh, I must be wrong. Oh, there's mer. So which is it? Is it mar, mer, or more? It just tells you they lost the language. So the Masoretics are taking all this information. They're like, different times they're using different vowels because they don't know. They don't know. So you have to go back to the Egyptian. Mera means love. Mera means love in Egyptian. And I could pull up that dictionary and search for it, and it would take a long time, but I don't know that I'm going to. Let's see if I can find that dictionary. I don't even know if I have it on this computer. I was using it on my phone. Let's go Hebrew, no, Egyptian. That's the one. So that's not Mera. The OCR is. So the OCR is slow, the whatever is slow. This needs to be digitized so we can search this really fast. Boomerang. They had a boomerang in ancient Egypt. A carpenter's axe. They have a T sound, a tch sound. Oh, that's Aramaic. That's not, or demonic. Where's the ch sound in these languages? Where's the ch in Hebrew? It's missing. It's got lost. Emerald. So this is just very slow. It has to load a page. But you look at these symbols, that's a symbol for water. That's a symbol for a sail. You can say what you want, but it's definitely a symbol for a sail and for water. There's a boomerang. Huh. Where did the scimitar come from? It's a Hebrew word or an Egyptian word. Oh, they didn't have scimitars back then. It's an Egyptian word. It's in a hieroglyph from 2000 BC. Why are you wasting your time on stupid shit? Ama. So I think of Spanish. Ama, to love. We got some boomerangs. Anesu. So I'm not just looking at what's I'm supposed to be looking for. I'm looking for. So we got this turquoise emerald color. Watch. There's definitely a ch sound. And there's a few ways that are similar but are slightly different. We got 3 circles. We got some sort of spike with a line. And now we got a little bird, a little patichka. Oh, my computer's going to crash. Watch. Emerald. And emerald is jade. Jade in Chinese is a king or queen, priest or priestess. It looks like it just looks like a straight vertical line with a firmament above, earth below, and a midline. I don't know how to describe that any different. So we're only picking up that emerald on the OCR, so we might be missing some of the mares. So we might have to go to mare, but that would give us more choices. Fakat. Faku. I wonder what Faku sounds like. So these were guesses on the sounds from the 1800s. So now I have men. Remember, mermen. Good, perfect. Not to have, to be without. So now we have Amber Heard. What did she hear? I have a myrrh in there. I have a murd, which reminds me of Myrd, which is Shita in the bed. Um, dear muddy. We could do this all day. Memshare, evening or night. This is how our brain naturally works. We have these connections, and what the world does is it teaches us, oh, you gotta focus, no, let it rip. This is how the knowledge of Jehovah will fill the world. Mera, bodily excretion, flood. This is how it will fill the world. I just said that, flood. What did I just type? And then I just happened to hit next, and that's what comes up. You think this is by accident? Okay, so now we have Mer tied to a boat. So the basin of a harbor, the harbor, we have some sort of half eye or maybe a boat. We have this thing, we have water. We have this little at symbol, which might be rope for the boat. And we got something there. So when I look at the picture, it's like, yeah, that's a boat. It's tied to the water. Maybe it's bitter water, a lover or a friend. I'm a bitch, I'm a lover. So I wonder if I can find bitch. Mera, Meri, beloved, Meriu, Meriti, merit. Merit aligns with this idea of being beloved. He has good merit, meritocracy. A female slave. She's probably a slave to something in her life. I don't think she's free. I don't think someone's human trafficking her or something. I just feel like she's not well. She's diseased, as Sadhguru would say. She's not at ease. And so she's trying to find a way to be at ease. Mera, to guide. And this is us. By us, I mean philologists of Egypt in the 1800s, based on context of what they could figure out, trying to interpret the writings on the wall like Amenadi did. Mer, protector of the dead. Completeness, fullness. Oh, here it is. I just said it. Merari, a sick man. Mer. That's supposed to be a pyramid. It looks like a sail to me. A pyramid or tomb. So I would have to look at the context. Mer, milk pot. If you watched that previous video, I just looked up milk in Chinese. Mer, hero, brave man. So a mer could be a milkman or a hero, brave man. Okay. The land of Mera. Pata Mera. Pata, the land of Mera. Pata, alagua pato. It looks like a bird. It means sky or land or something. What is this? I'm having a hard time reading that. Is that two N's next to each other? I'm looking at the picture. I don't see two N's next to each other. Supposedly the water symbol is N in Egyptian and it's M in Hebrew. So those look similar, except this has this extra hand. This hand sometimes looks like a phallus. So what we need to do is decompose this, put this in thousands and millions of people's hands. And that's how we're going to break the code. It's not going to be one geek sitting behind a desk doing this. You need to have creative people of all types in order to break this code. Neshmet, emeralds in general. What is this? A corvier. I don't even know what a corvier is. It's a new word for me. We got boomerang. So we're missing a lot of the myrrhs because of how we searched. So now if I were to search for myrrh, how common? Oh snap. I'm not going through 418 because several of those will be in this introduction, especially if the citation has myrrh in it. We need to separate citations so we could search. You could search for glyph, you could search for, this is called a transliteration, you could search for the meaning. We got keria, a rope of the magical boat. Did anyone have a magical boat with a compass? Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Sa'aur, to make pregnant. I don't know how that's to make pregnant unless that's a phallus sticking out of that man. Incomer. Water course. So if you saw on that previous screen, the water ox is everywhere. Kent, previously. Looks like a building. Looks like new twin towers. Immersed, to be steeped in water. Keb. Okay, I have pictures of 3 waters. It looks like a lot of water. This could be the moon. So they're saying sometimes that these are letters of the alphabet. K, H, E, B. But I thought this was N. They have this keb that I think was in Hebrew, but the Masoretes lost it. Very seldom do they use it. Merenra. So this shape looks kind of like that boat shape from before. We got a moon, we got those are the same. And it's a cartouche, which means it was the name of a king, if we're correct about that. I wonder if, like a Menadi, we're reading all this Egyptian stuff like it was the past, the distant past, and their distant stories. But from their perspective, were they foreseeing the future? Did they foresee Nafi, Judah, Yeshua, Mohammed in their writings? And are we looking at their stories incorrectly? So I don't know if that's haste, chase, case. So we have a little goat here that turned into a bird, and that is supposed to mean the same thing. See, one who praises. I'm not going to go through 418 of these right now. Let's see if I can find. A goddess. I see a pot. She's squatting. So maybe that's correct. So So a lot of times when they do the IT at the end, it was the same thing as the one without the IT, but it becomes feminine. Unk, diarrhea. Unk, to bite, to gnaw. So from a picture, those are clearly different. Unkit is unk with this IT, which means it's supposed to have some feminine component to it. And, that could be tied to menstruation, possibly. I don't know. Mashit. Oh, look, that B symbol. This was the breast. It becomes sh. So this is the So how did they say that was for water? If that was an N instead of an M, because they switched them from Hebrew to Egyptian. And at some point, Joseph was in Egypt speaking Egyptian. You think Manasseh is a Hebrew word? You think Ephraim is a Hebrew word? Manasseh, Mormon, Nasa, Nasha, it means to be pierced or freed from guilt or something. It relates to what they translated it slightly in the Strong's Concordance, but it has deeper, richer meaning if you go to the Hebrew or to the Egyptian. Joseph went to Egypt to find a wife. When a man marries a woman, he leaves his father and mother. He severs the tie from his family tree, and he joins himself to his wife. The wife is the family tree. If you look at where the children come from and how umbilical cords work, they're family trees. Abraham goes into Egypt. Maybe he had records, maybe he didn't. Maybe he taught them astronomy, maybe they taught him astronomy. He went into Egypt. Oh, he learned their ways. He learned their language. He learned their knowledge. And then he went and created his own religion. Joseph comes into Egypt. Joseph has his own God. It's okay. He still learned the language. He probably didn't have a hair on his body. Why do you think they did that in the Americas? Because they thought they were descendants of Ephraim and Manasseh. And this is how they dressed. It was respect for their ancestors. Sheshit. Oh, so here's Reshit. Remember Reshit, Breshit, in the beginning. In the beginning, always goes back to Genesis. In the beginning, I could say Oz, Rosh, Rish, Ra, I would say Ra here, they're saying Re, Rasha, Rashon, Rashet, that needs a B in front of it for in the beginning. B means in, supposedly all by itself. And I think it's supposed to be Abrashet. So you want to say in the beginning, you could say Baz, and you're done. Why'd they say Brashet? Because there was deeper meaning there. It wasn't just about being the beginning. It was Brashet. Abrashet. The author created the heavens and earth for the gods. All Father, all Mother created the heavens and earth for Jehovah. I think that, I could be wrong with the labels. That's my current understanding. Rashit, as is, joy, in the beginning. Adam fell that they may have joy to the world. I found a remiumptum in here, if you look carefully. So I just don't know what people have been doing that have been studying this. there it is. Ken sheet. And remember, this Ken had this building-like thing. Up here it doesn't. Kench. So remember the word mensch? You look at that online, mensch, which is Yiddish or Hebrew for like good, job, or excellent. And Etymology Online goes and studies it, and they go through all this cycle. It's right here in this little dictionary. Mensch means excellent. I'm not going to take the time to find it right now. So, Kench means to stink, stinkiness. To stink like a fish. To walk with a fish head. Water, moon, something. I don't know if this is a man or a woman. Is this carrying an axe? And then, look, the reason they have the sh sound is Coptic. What's the Amharic version of this? You need to triangulate your studies. Kenchit. So this might be the regular form, and this might be like a feminine form. A disgusting or stinky thing. I think of Isaiah 5. I planted this vineyard, and it brought forth stinky grapes. Sheet. Oh, shit. Bullshit. This word just resonates for some reason. And sometimes I think, maybe the Indians are right. By Indians, I mean the Gungans, the Tamilians, that we reincarnated. And then I think of the crazy Hebrew scripture. And by Hebrew, I mean in Hebrew, like the thing we attribute to the writings. And so a lot of people try to understand what Hebrew was Hebrew taking all of the myths and the stories and summarizing them? Or did he literally believe that Melchizedek was a man without days or end of years or whatever? And I think that's a really good insight by whoever passed through with that. So we have the seed of Abraham is kind of what he's talking about. Melchizedek, a 10th part of all, not a 7th part, look at your hands, a 10th part, the left thumb. So there's Abraham. So I think it's got to be this loin thing. Strength in the loins. So it might not be the scripture. So there's a scripture, usfuf. So we're speaking a different language now. It's Greek, and I don't know what it means. The hip. The hip is the side. Abraham's chief servant places his pinky finger on the hollow of the hip of Abraham. That would be his anus. So anyway, there's this thought here with Abraham that his issue was in his loins, like the semen of his entire race. And I believe at any given point of time, a male has about 8 billion semen in his body. 8 billion. And if you do the math, sands of the sea, possibility of the law of large numbers, you could get to 8 billion. So I think one ejaculation is, I don't know what that is. So let me just assume 8 billion, one ejaculation's a million. You got a 1 in a million chance. So you're telling me there's a chance. So the whole reincarnation thing is, we may have been embryos literally in the loins of Abraham and his descendants having a chance to partially participate in the events going on by whoever was that man. And for a woman, I think they're born with 1 million egg sperm, or egg ova, or whatever they call them, ovum. And they're born with them. They don't, when they are newborn, they have them. And then they start dropping eggs. So just having the ability to be dropped as an egg and experience an interaction with the flesh would be a miniature life experience. And then if you're turned into a child, it's a different life experience. And I think, when hot flashes and all that occurs, they're down to about 40,000 eggs when they're in their 40s. Amber Heard. So, Johnny Depp. Oni, the good one. He was a good man. Depp. Deep. And obviously, Captain Jack Sparrow and his magical ship. Navy of ships. Oni. Johnny. No. You gotta be kidding me. That can't be right. Aniya. A shipman. Chaval. A shipmaster. She. A ship. Johnny. A ship. So now we have this good man named Johnny, which I'm going to say I could summarize with the word Moroni. Moroni, meaning the good man, ship man. Remember, more means bitter. More also means great and noble. There's a problem with the language. So let's look up deep. So you can tell the Masoretics don't have clear distinctions on water. Is it bitter water? Is it sweet water? Etc., etc. Because 1000 AD, when they're writing this, it wasn't their thing. Deep, ma, ma, ma. Let's see if they have. How does E mean wild beasts of the island and mean E at the same time? The waters of Egypt, the waters of Meri. Meri. What was her name? Meri. Mer, the common name for Mer, which could be more in Egypt, was lake. We got the waters of Jordan. We got the waters of Jordan. We got the waters of Merom. Are you sure those aren't the waters of Mormon? They're Joshua's waters. Small waterfall feeding into a lake. Oh, in America, they had the same water. When Yeshua said, I am the living water. Where I'm going with all this. Merman is Mormon. It's the mythical living waters. Is there a movie with Captain South America's with living water, chalices? And what's interesting is Moroni, the good man, had Mormon shit on his bed. We have Myrrh. We have May. We don't have Myrrh with men. And who's the cast? Wasn't there a bad guy or something in one of the movies that's actually a Mormon? We got Patrick Joseph Wilson. I don't know if he's Mormon. Let's look at his filmography. So I remember him as kind of the anal guy in the A-Team. Wasn't he in one of those Mormon movies, like The Best 2 Years or something? And he may or may not have been. It could have been God's Army or This One or whatever. And it may not have been him. It may have been someone like him, but his appearance makes you think it was him. Mythical living waters. Did Jesus ever say, I am the living water? He may have already said, I am Mormon. We have before Abraham was, I am, but I think we interpret right, I am Jehovah. I am the way. Emet. Ox, water, arise. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not the way. That's the truth. I am the way. Oni. Did he say I am the good way? Moroni. I am the light. I am the way, the light. This is hilarious. It's been staring us in the face for so long, but these Mormons, they got their little Book of Mormon and they had to bury it in the sand and make sure everyone knew it was true. And we can't translate it or think about what the original Egyptian would be. What do you think God's going to do? Just hand us the sealed portion and just translate it for us? We have to work. We have to learn and grow. And so I just think it's hilarious that we have Johnny Depp, Oni, the way, the good man, Moroni, Captain Jack Sparrow. In Mormonism, do they have anything? Captain Moroni. It never says Captain Moroni. It says Moroni, who's the chief captain. You don't remember the ship part. Why are you forgetting the ship part? You should have been studying this out. The curse of the Book of Mormon. Ezra Taft had it right. We've had all of these cartouches, these markers. This dictionary I'm using, so I'm a hypocrite. Why didn't you do it? Was published in the 1890s. Brigham should have been trying to restore. I don't know if I like Shalamon. I don't like how that comes in the mouth. I like his original name, Jedediah. Jedediah. I don't know how to pronounce it yet. We call him Solomon. Let's restore his language. A lot of people are going to get on board with that. Let's restore the language of Shalamon. And in the process, we're going to bring to light that everyone was good actors and bad actors. We haven't even talked about the influence on Egypt and with the Hebrews the Gangans had. Where do you think Solomon got large timbers from? Of course, he outsourced it to India. That's what you do. It's just built into us. We just outsource stuff to India. So the pomegranates, the pillars of, or the posts of pomegranates. Who was sawing the lumber? Who was doing all the work? How do you think Nephi and Lehi knew what was going on in the temples? They were helping Josiah was restoring the temple. There was a treasury. There were records discovered. This isn't hard. Why are we so far behind in our knowledge of Jehovah? It's because the Mormons got caught up into the same bullshit that all of the other religions do. Oh, we got to protect our religion. That's called not polygamy. That's called polemy. Polemics. That's wrong. Polygamy, polyandry, polygynous. That's correct. You got the wrong Pauls. You're not going to like that one. Polytheism. How can you be El Elyon, the Most High, if there is no comparison? God has a sense of humor. Johnny Depp, Oni, the good man, Amber Heard, Mer, one of the mermen, El Elyon. That's why I'm going to kind of finish. Oh, look, I did a chiasmus. Just imagine the word plays if we actually unlocked the language of God. Aloha, shalom, cheers, aloha.